Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today at the Races here at lovely Laurel Park. I'm Keith Fustel. Dan Ullman from the Daily Racing Forum is here with me today for this outstanding 11-race card. Our racing office stakes coordinator, they've put together a tremendous card, a good betting card. Dan, how you doing?
Doing great. Spring Stakes spectacular, 4 stakes races, a win and you're in basically for the Preakness, the Federico Tessio, basically a win and you're in for the Black-Eyed Susan with the Weber City Miss. We've got turf racing back. The weather has held up so far. I'm looking forward to it.
That's the key. Let's take a look at the track conditions right now. Weather, you know, sun's kind of just peeking through these clouds. We might have to dance around some showers today. Interesting little weather pattern working here in the mid-Atlantic. But as of now, fast track, firm turf course. Temperature, I think we're going to get close to the mid-70s today. Track leveled off a little bit more fair yesterday. I thought we had a little speed inside bias on Thursday's card, but things leveled off a little bit. We'll keep you up to date if we notice any way that this track is playing. Dan is very good at that. He keeps track as well. Today is Beat the Expert Day. I'm up on the slab, I guess, what you want to call it. So, hey, if you beat me, you're going to get a great polo. We modeled that yesterday and the day before, Tim and myself. So hopefully, even if you don't get past me, yeah, you're going to get that polo. Yeah,
right.
You should get the polo. So there you go. This is going to be Saturday, April 1st to Saturday, May 20th on Saturday. So if you can, sign up and join the fun here on Beat the Expert. Let's get right to it. We got a big card. We're going to fly through these early races, and then we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of the stakes action. Early pick 5, get you started. Look at that great low takeout here. Early pick 5 starts. We got a scratch in race number 1 with the 2 Mondays with Mike. I know, Dan, you're leaning a little bit towards Camp Pendleton.
Camp Pendleton, a hard trier in a field full of hard triers. And we have a video spotlight of Camp Pendleton's most recent race. This was going a 1-turn mile over a sloppy track, and he ran really well in this race. He never stopped quitting. He's grinding and grinding. Hot and Spicy Love is odds on in this field. And Camp Pendleton has every reason just to sort of sit here and scooch up for second, and instead he keeps on pounding, and he almost gets there at the wire. This barn's been doing very well lately. Route to Sprint, 5 for the last 24 with a $3.11 ROI. I'm worried about him cutting back Route to Sprint because there's not a lot of speed in this race. I can't let your top pick get too far away.
Yeah, that's the key, I think, for me with Camp Pendleton is the flow going to work a little bit against him. He's a grinding type, no doubt about it. He tries. It doesn't matter wet surface, dry surface. I like Honor the Fleet, though, here with Kieran McGee. I know this guy's been scratched a couple times, but he's just a crafty veteran. Honor the Fleet. And Kieran just does so well, he and the whole barn, with these type of horses. A little stat here, the last 2 years with his $5,000 tag in Maryland, Kieran 17 for 44, 39% with an ROI of 222. Another little stat, I think, oh, here we go. The last 45 days at Laurel, he's only 42%. So this barn rocks and rolls. And I thought Honor the Fleet last time, he just had a little trouble on the gate, used a little bit too early and against the better group. I think it just, from this post, I think he can control it. If he wants to go ahead and let somebody else go, I think he can sit as well.
Backclasser, drops with tactical speed. He'll be right there turning for home. And again, he's a real hard hitter.
Yes, he is. Let's go to race 2. Turf action. Hey, it's great to have the turf back. Big fields, lots of value, I think. And we're going to see this throughout. I've got an early pick 4 ticket, only 2 deep in the second in this big field. I had to make it reasonable. I go 2 and 6. Brushing, Bath, and Tennis. Interesting move here. Jonathan Wong bringing this one back off the claim into Maryland. Race 3 with the 1, 3, 5, and 7. Had to single somewhere to keep it honest. Race 4, we're going to go ahead and single the 2. Shack in the box. I think it's a step sideways when you're looking off the claim and up, but I think this field works for him. Race 5, 1, 3, 4, and 6. Good race there. The allowance to 3-year-olds, other than optional. Swifty Devil coming off a good try in New York from Mikey Gorham. There's a $16 ticket. Add if you like. You may have to, but there's something to get you started. Race 2, 5.5 on the grass for the fillies and mares. The starter option. What do you think?
We talked about Bath and Tennis, and it is an interesting reclaim by Jonathan Wong. Now, we know Bath and Tennis. She's been around for a long time. She's run well going 5.5 on the turf in the past. She's got good tactical speed, and she was doing it for a lower profile barn. Wong claimed her. This horse aired at Turfway. I like that they've taken her back. This barn has already won 4 times off the claim this month. I just think that this horse, with her versatility, is going to get close to the pace.
Up and coming rider here in Axel Concepcion. Keep an eye on him. The 7 Brown Apprentice is looking very, very good. Does a good job rating horses. Nice move yesterday with a horse up the rail to get it done. Yeah, interesting. You think the move is, they claim to bring her back. Maybe, they scored last time right off the bat. Maybe win and lose her, profitable move here for this barn coming back to Maryland. I lean a little bit with Brushing. This is a horse that's run big off of a 340-day layoff. A barn that doesn't run a lot, but it's a high percentage barn, can get horses to run off at time. I think Brushing is going to like the flow in here because, Dan, you got to think Spicy Margarita, Threat Level Midnight, they're going to be out there rocking and rolling.
This horse is the classic example of a dirtied-up horse. Ran on dirt last time out against a very good field. I don't think that's her best surface. The race before that on turf. Terrible post position, hung out 5 wide turning into the stretch, got bumped onto her wrong lead. I really think she ran great that day. The time before that, a route race. Go back to that sprint 4 starts back at Parks. That might point her out.
Absolutely. I thought that was a very good race. And with Rodriguez, they go out and seek a rider like this who can work into a position around that turn and bring that kick because I think they are going to like the flow. Bath and Tennis and Brushing up front. Let's go right to the third. We're going to hustle right along here through this card. Third race, claiming 10,000, 2 in life for the fillies and mares. Interesting on the line. It was tough. I was a little stronger on Bally Keen. I had her 9-5, brought her down to 2. You're seeing a horse off time coming in from Churchill Barn Change, but dropping. Do you think the 6 furlongs works for her or not?
I think that's the main question mark in this race. I think against this field, however, she does have enough speed to get close, and that's really the key for horses cutting back in distance. We've seen Kentucky Vaders do very, very well here in Maryland. She was claimed by an underrated, excellent trainer in Justin Nixon.
Yeah, I like the way she took heat a couple races back going long, took some challenges, just couldn't withstand it very, very late. But she's going to have to get put in position. The horse just to her outside is very quick in conductance. Got, like to drift out a little bit around the turn. She was a real hindrance for Poet in My Heart last time. Let's touch upon your top selection, Lovely Liza.
Lovely Liza might have gotten the flow last time out, going out for a very hot barn. Charles Frock, 14 days or less off the layoff. Horses coming back in 2 weeks on dirt, 26%, 373 ROI. This horse comes back in 2 weeks. Now, again, got the flow last time out and also got a very nice ride from Barbosa. Tracking outside, dropping inside to save some ground, got out, and was running on a little bit at the end. I think there's enough pace for her here.
Agreed. I think you're going to see conductance go. Poet My Heart, I like the improvement last time. Even with the trouble, she tried to the wire. You've got that one in the mix. My top selection, O'Shaughnessy, hooked a 4-time winner in Cocktail Dreaming. It's a low-profile barn, but a barn that hits okay. I've got him about 23% over the last year. You've got a horse that maybe quite wasn't for the big barn, and Brittany Russell worked out. This horse is going to get all the TLC, got her happy. It looks like she's going to make a run. I thought she kept on pretty well with that 5-wide trip, going 5.5.
And you really hit on it. Take a look at the charts. This horse ran against open claimers and a 4-time winner in Cocktail Dreaming, dropping into a non-winners of 2 life in here. That's a huge drop for these inexperienced horses.
Absolutely. We move to the 4th race, 3-7-5-2 in the 3rd there for Dan. 4th race, scratch the 3, Island Delight. You're in agreement with me. Shack in the Box, I think, off the claim. Second time gelding. There's a lot of positives. Very, very well off the claim. A little suspicious that big of a drop last time, but I think this field works right back.
Farrier 3 for the last 10 with last out winners off the claim. That's a 258 ROI. I thought he just looked very good, and maybe he just needed a little bit of a break. He tracked 3 wide. He was on a really hard chase after the runner-up, who was the pace setter on the turn, went right on by. Just a repeat of that race, I think, makes him extremely difficult to beat.
Agreed. I think Lord Hutread's hand is forced from the inside. He wants to be forward. I think the shortening up is going to help his chances. I think he stays around a little bit longer. Strong finish. Interesting horse here. Second time in the barn for Brittany Russell off that big drop off the layoff.
Looked like a dump, I thought, last time out. Dropping him in for the 12-5. First time Brittany off a lengthy layoff. Wasn't a dump. The horse won by a million. Lasix blinkers, Brittany. And I don't think that was a very strong field. I think this is a much tougher group, but this horse should be on a confidence high and will be close to the pace.
You're right. Decent internals, took to some rating. You see the short comment set down at the 316, so had plenty around the turn. Let's see, if he can sit and sustain into a little tougher flow today. 2-5-4-6. Did you want to touch upon anybody else?
Not really. Brittany, though, 36%, 299 ROI with last out maiden winners. Maybe Dart's a horse you want to look at, a horse that opened up a big lead last time out on a wet track and tired, a horse with a lot of minor awards on the page.
Yeah, it looks like maybe he's even a touch better with a little moisture in the track. We'll see if somehow we get some showers that might boost his chances, but he's shown to be pretty versatile. Dart. Let's go to the 5th. Here we go. Really good race. 3-year-olds. Optional A other than. I land on Swifty Devil. You're going to go ahead and try Parkiness, first-time Lasix for Jamie Ness.
I think that might be the key for Ness here. First-time Lasix with Parkiness, who ran into a really good horse. Daydreaming Boy is sort of a fringe-listed stakes horse in the Mid-Atlantic region. Was much the best at odds-on in that race for $75,000. Parkiness was battling on the lead, tired just a little bit at the end. Lot of upside potential. Lasix on. I think this horse can get close to the pace in here.
Clem Florio, the late great, back and they talking about horses that win first time out in the fashion that Parkiness is, showing that talent early. Shortening up just a touch or adding Lasix could be definitely part of that flow of the whole way. I like the way Swifty Devil took the firm rating last time. This horse was under a guzzle hold, down inside rivals, let it kind of 2 or 3 horses go, came back inside, kicked away. This horse is able to pair up numbers, and I think right back is going to be very tough for Mike Gorham.
Extremely professional, and it's nice that he won from the rail last time out, wasn't it? Because he draws inside again. It can be sometimes intimidating. You're right. Once he raided into that pocket, the rail opened up. He shot on through. It was a perfect trip, but he ran.
Yeah, he did run, and he's up against the right kind. Prove right. Joey Freshwater, winner of the Grade 3 Bayshore. Lost weekend. A horse I think kind of got back on track the last couple. I figured him to even be a little bit closer last time. Pressing at the 7/8 did not. It looks like maybe he's lost a touch speed, or you think that's just the change of tactics with this horse?
I think at this point in time, Lost Weekend's going to be raiding again. Just sitting just off the early lead. There appears to be some speed to the inside. The trip is going to be there. He seems to get good trips. And I know that the Capuanos have always thought very highly of this horse. He hasn't panned out just yet. Aren't you just starting to get a little tired of the act?
Yeah, a little bit. That always a horse that intrigues me. A higher price to the Phil Capuano runners. I thought ran sneaky good in that big, gaudy 11-horse field, I should say, last time at a mile. Snuck through along the inside, a little run of the 8th pole, flattened out just a touch. A protect move off the maiden claiming. I think this horse has a chance because I think the pace is going to be honest here, especially with the Charlestown shipper going. This horse could make a run. Also
finished ahead of 7's 11 in that 1 mile race. That horse came right back to win with a 70 buyer. So this horse fits on numbers, is lightly raced. I think the turn back hits him right between the eyes.
Perfect. Like a good catch on the 7's 11. We had that down and forgot about it. Let's go. 6th race. The Dahlia course, we're back to the turf. Maiden special weight, rail set at 52 feet. Scratch the 4, Marvelous Moon Dance. It was seriously going to take some play. Margie's Fun Son, Here and No Further, and King Joey. Jackpot Super High 5. This thing just keeps growing and growing and growing. It's a $1 ticket. It's going to be on the 6th race every day. 15% takeout. Look at that, $21,000 up for grabs. Also, the pick 6 starts in race 6 today. This 11th race card. Things changing a little bit from a betting standpoint, but hey, Callie's got a ticket. We'll run through it. She's got a single there in race number 6 with the 10, Bassanio. She spreads races 7, 8, 9, 10. Going to wrap it up in the 11th with the 7 and the 9. Coast Along, Blame the Rule Maker. I like Here's Liam a little bit in the price. We'll get to that one. There's your ticket, $28.80 from Callie Francois. She'll be back later today. And I'm sure Tim Tulloch will be around too, right? So we got everybody, all hands on deck for this Saturday stakes card. Let's get to the 6. Any real thoughts here? We've got a stat if you want to throw it up first for Bassaneo.
Bassaneo going out for Arnaud Delacour. Congratulations to Arnaud. Took down Modern Games, a real nice scalp last time in the Maker's Mark Mile with Chez Pierre, a horse that a stakes winner here in Maryland. Our Delacour over Maryland Circuit. 10 for the last 31, 32%, 301. Obviously an excellent turf trainer. Bassanio is solid. This horse is getting blinkers for the first time, and it might help him. Didn't break very well last time. I thought ended up getting the right trip, but the pace quickened up at the half-mile pole, and I think it had forced this horse to move a little bit earlier than usual, and then he just got a little bit tired at the end. He's not a standout, so this is a race where I would have to spread, and I think your horse has pedigree and potential and ran well in his 1 start last year.
Trying to dig up a good stat for Farrell Short, because right about below this line here, there's not a whole lot looking good. Maiden special weight 2%, but found a little stat here. 3-year-olds. Plus 180-day, the maiden variety on the turf. Small sample, 3 for 5 and 4 for 5 the last few years with an ROI. It's high. It's like $10. It's really, really good. This is a horse cut out to be a really good one. Full sister. Not great at stakes place, but topped at a 94. The family is there. The mother was really good. Hungry Island. You can talk about her if you want real quick.
Multiple Grade 2 stakes winner on the lawn, going long by the great turf stallion Kitten's Joy. Getting Lasix. The horse took money for the debut and actually ran on at the end of that race, which is what you want to see from a young horse.
I liked it. The winner there. That field hasn't come back to do a whole lot, but I'm not really worried about this. This is a guy that's really bred to run. El Caneo, he dictated. He was able to kind of get away with it on the front end, but this horse shifted out, worked between horses, freshened, I think brings a kick off it. I think the 3's a sneaky little user, might be a shrewd claim here off of the run at Turfway Park. Triple key race back there at Colonial for that maiden 40. That field works for me. Big scratch of the 4, though. You're also going to throw in the 12. Classic Legend.
That's my
a bomb.
nutty horse in
like
there. That horse has got to be 30 to 1. And you look at this horse, and again, I like to scan the weights here at Laurel, and you look at these horses come into the paddock. Classic Legend's a monster. He's not a sprinter. He wants to go long. His best race came going 7/8, one of the longest races of his career, and it came on the Tapeta Service at Woodbine. Sometimes we see that translate to the turf, and this horse has a little bit of turf pedigree as well. A half-brother to a stakes-winning turf sprinter named Kenda. So I think this horse is just going to be sent out of there at a giant price, and if the layoff horse isn't ready to go and some of these 0 for 14, 0 for 15s don't want to win, maybe he lasts for a piece.
We've seen Wayne Cole strike at an awfully big price here in the past, and I think one wasn't too long ago at Laurel Park. I'm going to toss in the 2 a little bit. I know the first-time angle on the turf, first out for Trombi hasn't been great of recent note. But Carrasco, I want to say, was also named on the 5, right? He ends up here. Now, granted, he's probably no longer going to ride more for Trombetta. Mare, 2 for 13, a stakes winner on the turf. Lone Sib to race, 4-time turf winner, and ran its third career start. That was the turf debut for that one, and got it done.
Key to the family, second dam on the Grade 1 American Oaks. Really good turf horse.
All right, 10, 12, 7, 5 in race 6 for Dan. I go 5, 10, 3, 2. We're going to have this today. We're going to be all over the map with some picks. Let's take a little break. Commercial break. We're done 6. We're going to come back with 5, the late pick 5, including a look at this great stakes action.
Pop, pop, it's showtime. 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 Guess who's back again? Oh, don't believe me, just watch. Hey, 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 oh! Guess you make me feel right. I've been locked out of heaven. I'ma leave the door open. That's right. Hey, out here tripping in finesse. 'Cause you're amazing. Just the way you are.
All right, what's the percentage for a win for Bruno Mars? What, 11 years off the layoff, I guess, coming back to Pimlico.
Got to check your formulator facts.
Yeah, check the formulator facts on Bruno Mars. I'm sure it's going to be a great show talking to the people and ticketing. Said, yeah, there's a lot of buzz going around. So looking for a great Preakness Saturday. Black Eyed Susan, always a great weekend. Hey, late pick 5 starts here in race 7, the Heavenly Cause Stakes. Fillies and mares 3 and up. I don't know if we have a late pick 5 ticket from anybody today or not. We might have one later. We don't. Okay, scratch the 1, jump into the fire. Let's get right to the video of my top selection, the 9, Beth's Dream. This is from March 17th.
This is how a 1 to 2 shot is supposed to win races. Beth Stream popping a 93 by her speed figure, a number that would certainly fit. You see her, she stays on her left lead all the way through to the wire, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. She's winning by a million lengths. My one concern, and I'm curious as to your thoughts on this, look at her races at Gulfstream. She airs at Gulfstream. Everywhere else, she's okay.
Yeah.
But Gulfstream's her track.
She loves it. She rode the wave of that racetrack. I was talking to Kyle Fitzgerald, our chart caller down there just yesterday, checking in, and he had to dealing with some flooding issues. So, you know, our thoughts go out to everybody involved in that, down in that area. Tough times there, but they'll get out of it. But he said that track's been playing center of the track, 4-5 path, because I was like, usually don't see these comments, but it's been very consistent. But I tell you, she just dominated that field, and I like her draw here to be able to relax outside of any other speeds. Maybe a horse like hashtag Lucky goes ahead and could be a little bit of a nuisance. But she travels, Monmouth okay, and she's been able to kind of come back second off of a run and run big.
And boy, Jamie Rodriguez just rides this distance very, very well, doesn't he? He just seems to time the second wire finish of the one-turn mile so well. Don't be surprised to see her cruising under a nice hole, turning for home. Past the Champagne, the number 7 is my pick. It's a shame that her very once promising career was derailed by several physical ailments, because she was once beaten ahead by Malathot in the Grade 1 Ashland. I thought her seasonal debut was good, going 2 turns in the Wayward Lass, a race in which she was involved in a speed duel with the eventual winner and ended up finishing finishing about 8 lengths ahead of Beth's Dream. It was a good race. They were both coming off layoffs. Past the Champagne off a longer one. Past the Champagne wasn't great in the Fritchie last time out. I do think she can still run, and that's really the key, because if she can, I think she has the talent to beat this field.
I think I think she's got a little bit more tactical speed than Hybrid Eclipse, who's just a gamer, loves the distance. Beth's Dream loves this distance. Hybrid Eclipse could have things kind of set up a little bit really to her liking with that grinding style. But you talk about, the lack of Lakes past Champagne. That was just a pretty quick pace. Just fizzled just a little bit. I gave the count grudgingly. She was still trying, and you're right. This horse should be able to bring a finish just off the pace with Frugal Lynch. Hybrid Eclipse, we both have her third. Wouldn't surprise me if she gets it done.
Goes out for Brittany Russell, who won the Maryland Trainer of the Year award last night for the second consecutive season. How can you argue with a horse that's 5 for 7 at Laurel, 3 for 4 at the distance, and coming off of a win, and might actually be a fair price in this race? She does have some tactical speed. She will be running late. She is as honest as the day is long.
I know one of your biggest fans, my man Joe Gass, he said he might stop out today. He's a fan of Hybrid Eclipse today, and I told him, I said, I think you're going to get an honest 7-2, maybe even 4, because I think the money's just kind of going to pour in on Past the Champagne and Beth's Dream. One thing, home track advantage here for Hybrid Eclipse. A little price shot I've got into the mix there, the 5 award wanted. I thought she had a tougher trip 2 races back when behind Hybrid Eclipse, and then last time I thought the inside was not really the best place to be, and she didn't just quite kick on. I think she's going to be loaded mid-turn to make a move into this.
She's so consistent, isn't she, going out for Jerry Robb? I mean, it seems she's on the board in just about every start for almost a year now. Her big win 3 starts back came where she did have a perfect trip. The rail opened up and she shot on through. Hybrid Eclipse beat her last time out. But there was also a big pace last time out, and she was close to it as well. That was a race where, you remember, Marvelous came from far out of it. I think she ran better than it looked.
Yes, I think she did. That, like I say, Marvelous had some trouble, but rode the wave of the racetrack. I can't take anything away from that because she had that definite trouble out of the gate. But I think Award Run is going to sit there at a good price. She's going to slip away probably 6-8 to 1, no doubt. 7-9-2-8 for Dan in the 7. Let's go to the 8th. This is a really good race. The Frank Whiteley scratched the 4 Whitty, who just missed the other day. Lots of ways to go here, I thought, in race number 8. You got a horse like Bank It coming back, going to get back on Lasix. You want to go the video first? Is that okay on one of our contenders?
I think that's good. We got 2 horses coming out of the same race, so we're going to start things off with Eastern Bay and Kenny Had a Notion. This is the Not for Love from last month, and Kenny Had a Notion ran very well, up on the pace at 41 to 1. But look in the red silks with the blinkers. That's Eastern Bay, who's just sort of down inside. This is an uncomfortable position. Really didn't get his fairest chance to fire. We know Eastern Bay can step. He won the General George 3 starts back, and he just has to work something out from the rail.
That's the biggest problem. If he drew like the 7 or 8 hole, I may have ended up having him on top. That rail is a tough spot with this field with a horse like the 2 that's going to be sending. Factor in, I think it's going to be fairly forward. We'll see if he can draft into position. Just unlucky right there with that Comet being hemmed in from the 3/16th to about the 16th pole. We both land on the 3 factored in.
Just consistent. 9 for 14 at Laurel. I like that Carlos Mencia gave this horse a little bit of class relief. Didn't fire his best shot without Lasix in the General George. Showed up in an allowance race and was just always winning. He was 4 wide throughout from the back, and he just swept by that field. He runs fast races. He can win from on the lead or just off. This post position is fine for him. Ever since they gave him that long break, he's come back a different horse.
Yeah, you got to love this field. You look at it, 7-year-old, 9-year-old, 7-year-old. What about the 4-year-old? Al loves Josie.
Upwardly mobile, and I think that this horse is maturing at just the right time. If you remember earlier in Al Loves Josie's career, he was a one-dimensional speedball. He has learned to rate, as we saw in his last start, where he beat 3 next-out winners. He's in very sharp form right now. I wouldn't be surprised if the X-Man gets aggressive and tries to take the bull by the horns and wire this group.
I wrote it. I said, right now is the time to strike. He's in top form. He looks like the main speed. I loved what he showed last time, going in between horses. Didn't phase him, and he just drew off with something left. I know he's got to get that extra furlong, but I think this first quarter of a mile, if he's able to relax a little bit, he's going to bring a finish. He's going to be tough. I think he's going to fight you tooth and nail from the top of the stretch home. Let's talk about Bank It.
A millionaire. He's won a stakes every year from 2 till 6. He is now 7. He's multiple stakes placed this year. He just shows up every time. Now, he got a trip last time out. There was a speed duel ahead of him. He sat in behind. But the favorite won. He just couldn't get to him that day. I think turning back is going to be okay for this horse. I don't think he needs to come from far out of it, and he won the last time he stepped at Laurel, the only time he ran here.
We talked about Eastern Bay, just going to need to work out the trip. He's been deadly consistent of late. Yeah, so I think the flow works in the favor of Al Loves Josie. That extra 8's going to be a question mark. Factoring in, I think, might just try to get into that position, get that stalk and pounce kind of trip in the Whiteley. Let's go to the 9th. A little breeze kicking up here on the set. In the 9th, we go to the Weber City Miss Stakes. Okay, kind of a win and you're in, right, to the Black-Eyed Susan. You know, if you're qualified. Stays intact. Field of 7. We've got a video of our top selection, Girl Trouble.
Girl Trouble got in trouble last time out. We're going to take a look at that race, the main line at Parks, and this just didn't work out from the start. She was projected to be the lone pace setter, and they decided to rate her down towards the rail. She could have gotten to the outside and upper stretch at a very short price. Paco Lopez decided to split horses, and maybe it wasn't the best decision. They got in tight just a little bit here.
Yeah.
The distance is really the question for Girl Trouble. Was that trouble enough to get her beat in that race? That's what trip handicappers have to decide, but she's run very consistent races. It was funny, I was talking to Butch Reed because that day, 90% Maddie won a stake also at Parks, and he said Paco came up to him in the paddock before the 90% Maddie race and apologized for the Girl Trouble ride.
Well, I tell you, you know, you're looking at her, you're looking at Crypto Mama, Pharaoh's Baby Gala. These look like the main 3, right? You would say the big 3 in this race. Pharaoh's Baby Gal was ultra impressive. We haven't seen her, though, since January the 13th. That was first time Lasix, 2 going to 3. Was able to control it against a softer field, but visually strong. I watched that race again this morning through the wire, but where's she been? Do you give a little edge over Girl Trouble because she's got that seasoning? She's got that battle-tested kind of, you know, form?
One of the concerns I have with Pharaoh's Baby Gal in this race is that Brittany likes to think that she's a run-and-gun, need-the-lead type. And, yes, she made the lead last time out, but you mentioned those fractions. They were very easy. Right. You got to think they're going to go faster in here. A horse like Crypto Mama has speed. If they send her hard from the gate, going 2 turns for the first time, off the layoff, is that too much?
That's the big question. If she wins impressively, we know the talent's there.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see what she can do off of this long break. And here's a horse that kind of fooled me from a betting standpoint last time, the 4 Crypto Mama. Got pounded. I just did not see that kind of action. This one got crushed at the windows and paid off. You know, sat a good trip, 3 wide stalking, and brought a finish. Now goes back out to 2 turns.
Horse ran well at 2 turns last year at Delaware over a muddy track in the White Clay Creek. Love this horse's tactical speed. Draws inside of Pharaoh's Baby Gal. Is going to make Pharaoh's Baby Gal work going into the first turn.
This is a little tougher field, but I tell you, she looks like she's moving in the right direction. 3rd off of a break here for Kelly Breen. Cats in the Timber, we both thought, I thought this one had a little shot to hit the board here, was in the worst part of the racetrack last time out.
Not only the worst part of the racetrack, but got wired by a sharp favorite that day. The race flow, I don't think, was Cats in the Timber's favor. She is going to get more pace to attack. She's going to be a price. I think she rallies strongly in the stretch.
Love it, love it. Good price there, 8-1 on the morning line with Heavy on Toledo for Brittany Russell, the higher price Russell. Now we go to, I guess, the feature, right? The Federico Tezio. You win if you're qualified. You're nominated to Triple Crown. You're going to get your shot in the Preakness.
Wide open race. You can go so many different ways. I think we should start talking about a horse we haven't picked, and that's Coffee with Chris, the number 1. And I believe we have a video spotlight of Coffee with Chris and Prince of Jericho from the Miracle Wood. This is back on February the 18th. And Coffee with Chris got the better of Prince of Jericho. Now, maybe ground loss made the difference in this race, Keith?
Yeah, it could have, and you're talking about the trip there. We've got it in the short comment. Bumped around at the break, had to wait a little bit around the turn, and it was then swung 7 wide. That was tough, but I do like the finish that Prince of Jericho brought. You know, again, he's off a couple months. What's he going to do? He's got the talent. Coffee with Chris, everybody was concerned. Is he going to kind of be able to get around the ground? I think he's kind of proved to everybody, yeah, I can hang around. And does the flow just have to be his way?
I think the flow can be his way.
Yeah.
Breaking from the inside post, it gives Rodriguez plenty of options. And right here, it looks like Prince of Timber, even with the ground, Prince of Jericho, even with the ground loss, has all the momentum. Coffee with Chris simply said no. That was the rubber match. Coffee with Chris has beaten Prince of Jericho 2 out of 3 times and has a much better post position today. And I still went with Prince of Jericho.
Yeah, and that was the trouble with me, back and forth from this morning line standpoint. Maybe both of them will be bet down a little bit more than what I have them, but that advantageous rail position and the way they bet Coffee with Chris last time at the private terms kind of put me over the top. And listen, last time out, yeah, it was a little slower flow. He relaxed beautifully. He didn't get asked to about the quarter pole, and he dug in. Hay Strike did not really run terribly. Ran an 85 buyer back in the bluegrass. So you're going to carry around the 9, the 5, 90%. Maddie, what are your thoughts on this one for Butchery?
Really curious to see how they're going to ride this horse because he showed speed last time out at Parks. He didn't change leads in the stretch, and he won by a zillion lengths. That was his first race with Lasix. Maybe he just has been waiting for that his entire career. Butch is very excited about trying him a mile and an eighth. He thinks this horse wants to run all day.
Okay, I'm going to come back to circling the drain for Brittany Russell. This is a horse we tried last time. It was first-time blinkers. We talked about the race and the allowance on February the 20th. We thought maybe he was waiting a little bit once he got the lead, and I thought he encountered a little adversity enough that, was he going to win that race last time? No. But I tell you, the steady early and the flow kind of hurt him, but he churned on through the stretch.
I think I might be off him one race too early. This might be the spot for circling the drain because you mentioned the little adversity. He's taking steps forward with every start. This is a horse. A mile and an eighth might be a little bit of a question for Prince of Jericho. It's not a question, in my opinion, for circling the drain. This horse is going to be running in the end.
And we've got two big-time trainers coming in here with horses, and Christophe Clement and Shug McGahee, the 6 Summer Cause for Clement, the 7 Perform. I lean a little bit with the 7. I tell you, I like the way this horse ran. 3rd time Lasix, 3rd off of a layoff. I've got a little stat here. Shug, the past 5 years, 5 for 15, 33%, 10 for 15 in the money with the 3-year-olds off of the 180-day or more layoff, going long on the main track. That's a good one. And this horse relaxed nicely. He's shown talent prior. Maybe he's changed his tactics. He ran down a 3-2 shot for Pletcher with ease at Tampa. I think he's that horse that maybe might jump up.
The reason these horses are here are the distance. I talked to both Shug and Clement. They think a mile and an eighth is going to be perfect for both of these horses. Shug said Perform had been a little bit of a disappointment earlier in his career. He loved the 2 turns. Look who he was in against and pushing the pace of 2 back. Mage. That's a good horse. He's a sleeper at a price.
And Summer Calls, who's he key up against? Tappet Trice.
Not bad to only be beaten 5.
Actually beat him in his debut back in November at Aqueduct, and he keys up against the right kind. So.
And he's won at the distance.
Yes, exactly. So a really, really good rendition here. The Federico Tezio, $125,000 win if you're nominated to the Preakness Stakes. We're going to wrap it up here, right? Let's go to the 11th and nightcap on the all-along turf course, maiden special weight at a mile.
Stat for Shug McGahee and Forrest Boyce. They do so well in Maryland. The number 7, Coast Along. Turf routes in Maryland, maiden special weight, 5 for the last 9. No sweat. For Shug, almost a $5 return on investment. They're going to team up again for Coast Along. A horse who just seems to figure.
They are money, those two. When they get together here on this circuit, you just got to watch out. You go 9, 7, 8, 3. I'll go real quick on the 8. He's Liam, my kind of price user in here. First time Lasix off the bench for Susan Cooney. I like that maiden try over this turf course at a mile and a 16th. Moved into the flow. Yeah, it was a little softer that day, but Candidate, Prowling Tiger, key horses. Candidates come back to win a stake.
Candidate's an Aro de la Cour horse with speed, a stakes horse. That was a very good field, and here's Liam ran fine. The Lasix might put him over the edge. Blame the Rulemaker was in against Carl Spackler, a little Caddyshack reference, last time out at Gulfstream Park, and that horse was the morning line favorite for the Transylvania at Keeneland before being scratched. He was something like odds on for Chad Brown when he won that day. He was 3 wide around. I think this is an easier field for him. He's going to have to improve.
He definitely could have the finish, though, against this group. Because the one thing I was a little disappointed with the McGahee horse last time. Sat a good spot, 3 wide, tip 4 wide. Just didn't kick on like I thought. But coming up here to Maryland, that combo is deadly. Let's take a look real quick, lightning round, whatever you want to call it, with some best bets and value plays.
Best bet for me is in race number 2, I believe. I believe I'm going with our good old friend Bath and Tennis.
All right.
Nice little turf sprinter.
My best bet, I'm going to start things off in race 1. Kieran McGee, he's just money for the nickel here. He gets these horses, spots them. I think Honor the Fleet with a clean break wins it from on or just off the pace. Value plays.
My value play, the key to my value play is the Jamie Ness runner, Parker Ness. Has to be at least 3 to 1 or the 3rd choice in that race.
Okay.
That's the only way he's value for me, but I think Lasix does the trick.
Money should be spread around in there, Dan. You should be able to get close to that. My value play, let's see. circling the drain.
Yep.
And the Tezio, I think, was a victim of flow, a little early trouble. We've seen this horse able to get that distance. I think it's going to work today because I think the pace is going to be definitely quicker. A couple of these horses sending to get position at the mile 8. That does it. Dan, thank you so much. Great 11 race card on tap today. Up to Dave Robin for scratches and changes.
Good luck.